Today, we're going to slice into one of the most common and, let's be honest, commonly misused tools in the world of data, the pie chart. I mean, you see them everywhere, right? But are you really getting the whole story they're trying to tell?
All right, let's just jump right in. Take a look at this thing. It's a chart of U.S. state populations. You've got 5 seconds. Ready? Go. Can you tell me the main takeaway? What's the 4th largest state? The 10th? Yeah, it's a total nightmare, isn't it? This right here is the exact problem we're going to learn how to solve.
Feeling a little dizzy? That's completely normal. That sense of just visual chaos? That's what a bad chart does to your brain. But don't you worry, we have a plan. We're going to turn all that confusion into crystal clarity.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll cover the basics. What even is a pie chart? Then we'll check out a few different types for different kinds of stories. After that, we'll get into the cool part, how our brains actually see these things. Then we'll look at the recipe for a truly bad pie. And finally, we'll learn how to talk about the data like a total pro.
Okay, first things first. Let's start at the very beginning. What exactly is a pie chart? So at its heart, a pie chart is pretty simple. You know, it's a circle, it's cut into slices, and its main job, its only job really, is to show you how big each slice is compared to the whole pie. That relationship, the part to the whole, is absolutely everything. And this is a perfect example of that. Now look at this chart on home energy use. It's clean, it's clear, and you get the main point almost instantly. You can see right away that space heating is the biggest energy hog, and refrigeration is just a tiny little sliver. It tells a simple story, no confusion. So when is the right time to use one? Well, the golden rule is you use it to compare parts of a single whole, just like that energy data we saw. It's also really good for showing how one thing, like say different age groups, affects a total, like product sales. But the most important rule of all, and you can't forget this one, all the slices must add up to 100%. No exceptions.
Okay, let's keep building on that, because, not all pies are created equal. Different stories need different kinds of charts to tell them effectively.
Now this is called a multi-pie chart, and it is fantastic for comparing two groups side by side. So here we're looking at what boys and girls do for fun. You can immediately see the big differences, right? For boys, computer games are this massive 34% slice. But for girls, dancing takes the lead at 27%. It makes that comparison instant.
And then you've got this guy, the exploding pie chart. Its whole purpose is just pure drama. I mean, it literally pulls a slice out from the rest of the pie just to scream, "Hey, look at me." It's the perfect way to highlight the single most important piece of your data. In this case, you can't miss that economics is the big one.
So we know what they are, we know the different types, but how do our brains actually make sense of them? Let's get into the cognitive side of this, because it's pretty fascinating.
When you glance at a pie chart, your brain is doing two things without you even realizing it. First, it's looking at the angle of each slice. And second, it's guesstimating the total area that slice is taking up. But here's the thing. This is where we run into a funny little human limitation. We are surprisingly bad at judging angles accurately just by looking at them. Seriously, can you really tell the difference between, say, a 45-degree angle and a 60-degree angle just at a glance? It's way harder than you'd think.
But, and this is so cool, there's an exception. Our brains are incredibly good at spotting right angles and straight lines. That means we can pick out a 90-degree angle, which is exactly 25%, and a 180-degree angle, that's 50%, with amazing accuracy. It's all those angles in between where things start to get a little fuzzy.
And that natural fuzziness in our brains leads us right into the next section, the recipe for a really, really bad pie. Let's break down the common mistakes that turn a useful chart into just a confusing mess.
And we're back to our old friend from the beginning. Mistake number 1. Way too many slices. Remember, the whole point of a chart is to get a quick overview. When you've got this many categories, it's literally impossible. It just turns into a frustrating rainbow of useless data.
Okay, now look at this student election chart. This is mistake number 2. There are no percentages. Just looking at the slices, can you tell for sure if Williams with 433 votes beat Vickers, who had 387? The slices look almost identical. It's impossible to tell by eyes, so you're just left guessing.
So what's the solution? Well, thankfully, it's super simple. Just use clear labels. This chart on favorite movies does it perfectly. You get the category, the number of votes, and the percentage. There's zero confusion.
You know instantly that romance is the winner with 30%. No guesswork needed. All right, let's bring it all home. You can now spot a good chart from a bad one. So the final piece of the puzzle is learning how to confidently and correctly talk about what you're seeing.
So, when you're talking about just one slice, you can really level up your language. Instead of just saying, space heating is the biggest, try something more precise, like the largest percentage of energy is used for space heating. Or how about a significant proportion of water is used by the toilet? It just sounds so much smarter, right?
And when you're comparing two slices, you can get even more descriptive. Using a phrase like twice as many or substantially more tells a much richer story than just pointing at two slices. This is really how you turn raw numbers into an actual powerful insight. So let's do a super quick recap. What are the key things you need to remember? 1. Pie charts are all about showing parts of a whole. 2. Different types like multi-pie or exploding pie are just different tools to tell different stories. 3, and this is a big one, avoid having too many slices and always use clear labels with numbers. And finally, use precise language to really tell the story in the data.
So I'll just leave you with this question. The next time you see a pie chart, are you just going to see a bunch of colorful data, or are you going to see the story that it's actually trying to tell you?